What's up, YouTube? It is your boy JB, and I am here today with the week's hottest topics. This is number 21, you guys. Not a lot going on this week. The big stories are pretty much still dealing with the election from last week. But you guys, without further ado, let's talk about what's going on in the week's hottest topics for the week of, what is this week? I should get better at this, but whatever. The week of November 9th through November the 13th. So let's talk about it, shall we, guys? All right, you guys. So the first thing we got to talk about is the presidential election that ended last Saturday. Can we get a round of applause? Thank you for that. My neighbors are loud, so you might hear, I don't know what they're doing. They do it all day and night. So the election, it's over, it's done, it's a wrap. So our new vice president and president have been announced. Our president-elect is Joe Biden, and our VP-elect is Kamala Harris, who made history as the first South Asian and African-American woman to hold the position, and she's the first woman. Man, by last weekend, I was over the election completely. So Saturday, I woke up, I watched Power Rangers, then I did that review. Then I watched Love After Lockup, did that review, and I was checked out. So I went to the gym, came back home, and when I got home, I was in my room watching, on Netflix on my PS4. And like I said, I had checked out, wasn't paying no attention to nothing. Like, it was just over for me. But then I was on social media and I saw people showing Joe Biden as the president-elect. I'm like, this can't be real. So the living room TV, like I said last week, was on CNN. So I went in there to watch it, saw it on there, and I just rejoiced. I felt a sense of calm, a sense of it's over. Well, it's not exactly over completely, but it's over in the sense that the election is done. We have our president-elect. We have our new vice president-elect. All we have to do is wait for Inauguration Day on January 20th is the Inauguration Day. All would be well in the world if who wasn't such a dumbass. So he is, which we already knew he would be doing. He's contesting the election. He's saying there's voter fraud. He's saying that there's dead people that's voted. He's saying that there were, Trump votes that were turned to Biden votes. He's saying all kind of ridiculous shit. He has lawsuits that have been, dismissed. Rudy Giuliani, he was supposed to do this this press conference at the Four Seasons, but he actually ended up doing this press conference at a wrecking yard that was across the street from a sex shop. I'm just like, at this point, you guys have got to give up. And then also, when it comes down to who, as Whoopi calls him, he's tweeting this misinformation. He is just doing a whole lot. His team is not, briefing Joe Biden on anything. He hasn't invited him to the White House. They haven't even started the process, for the transfer of power, which people have been asking him for months. Would there be, if he did not win, would there be a peaceful transfer of power? And once again, he kept going back to the whole thing of if the results are true. Well, the results are true. And then, his supporters, I don't know what planet you guys live. Some of them, not all of them, but there are some supporters. Some of them I saw in his comment section, in his tweets. Some of them are saying, originally I was with you, but with this stuff that you're doing now, I can't be with you. It's a very small percentage of people who are doing that. Most of them are, spewing the same rhetoric that he's spewing about dead people voting, about the ballots being switched from Trump to Biden. Now, here's the thing that's asinine and stupid to me. And I'm gonna go out on a limb and I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt, although they have no proof of voter fraud. But I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt that there is voter fraud. Let's just say, for the sake of saying that there is voter fraud, My question, however, is, which I had a conversation with somebody in Rox's comments yesterday, and when I asked them the question of the proof, they couldn't really give any proof, unfortunately. And then I said, okay, that's your opinion. Then I hit him with this one. If the election was rigged by the Democrats, as he's saying, why did the Democrats vote back in Mitch McConnell, turkey neck ass, and Lindsey Graham as senators in their respective states when people thought that both of them were going to lose their seats in the Senate? Why? Why? I mean, Lindsey Graham was definitely terrified about losing that seat. He was. So here's the thing. So if that's the case, if the Democrats stole the election, why not take the House and the Senate? That's what really matters, honestly. The president can't get anything done without both the House and the Senate. So why not take control of both of them? Like, that's what I'm trying to get people to make sense to me. And then there's a runoff election in Georgia for the Senate. So if they were going to cheat, they did a sloppy job of cheating. Like, let's keep it real. They did a sloppy job of cheating. They're going to cheat against the presidency, but they're going to leave the Senate up in arms. Like, you don't know who's going to lead the Senate, if it's going to be the Democrats or the Republicans. Doesn't make a lot of sense. Here's my second thing that doesn't make sense to me. So, again, let's say that the election was rigged by the Democrats. Okay? The election was rigged. And like I said a few minutes ago, the states that are in question are the states that he lost: Georgia, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and it's another one that I think it's Wisconsin. I think that's one of them too. So let me ask this question: if we're contesting those states, why are we not contesting all 50 states? So if you're saying that, because they're saying that this software flipped some of the Trump votes to Biden votes. Okay, so I'm gonna use your same logic. If that's the case, shouldn't we look at every other state? Because if that's the case, then there's a potential that some of the Trump votes in certain states could have been flipped from Biden to Trump, right? Right. And then people are talking about the fact that the voting took, they kept counting the votes into the next day and then in the days leading. Okay. Here's another fact for you. Texas, because I live in Texas, and I know for a fact our voting did not end at 10 o'clock. Our voting, I think, went up until, I don't know when they called Texas. I know I want to say that they called Texas somewhere after midnight. I feel that way. Now, don't quote me on that one, but I know it wasn't, when the poll stopped, because at the 10 o'clock news, they were still, one of my 10 o'clock news here in Dallas came on, they were still tallying the votes out and I live in Dallas, like I said. So in Tarrant County, Collin County, and if you guys don't know, Collin County in Texas in Dallas is like Plano. So they were still counting votes in that area at about 10 o'clock at night. But he still won Texas. So with your logic, if he's contesting the states that he lost, why not contest all 50 states? If there's voter fraud, contest all 50 states. But he's not going to do that. He just wants to contest the states that he lost in. Dude, at this point, let it go. You lost. Move on. And then, people are talking about the fact that the media doesn't decide the election. Well, in 2016, the media called him as the president-elect, and he accepted it. So what's the difference between then and now? They're saying, oh, well, Hillary conceded. That doesn't mean anything that because she conceded. I mean, you don't have to concede to see that someone's won. Then they're also saying, what else are they saying? They're also comparing this situation to the 2000 election with Al Gore and George Bush. Now, in 2000, I was 11 years old, I think. Yeah, because that was, yeah, 20 years ago, because I'm 31 now. So yeah, I was 11 years old in that election, so I did not vote. But I do remember that night. I do remember that night. And they're showing his supporters are showing this fake story, in the paper where it said President Gore. That election was not called on election night. That election went for weeks because of, and here's the difference between Al Gore's situation and whose situation. In that situation, it was contested because of one state, Florida, and a few, I think it was like 500 or so votes, like one state, not not multiple states. Like, dude, at this point, it's just easy just to say congratulations to Joe. I know you don't want to, but just say congratulations. I underestimated you and I lost, and move on with your fucking life. He's a toddler. He's a petulant child, and I'm ready for inauguration date so he can pack his shit. Actually, he needs to be out by January 19th. I'm tired of him. I'm over him. I'm gonna try to go ahead and move on to the next story, you guys. All right, and since I'm talking about the election, let's segue into talking about actress Eva Longoria. She learned her lesson the hard way about going against black women, because black women ripped her a new one. So she did an interview on MSNBC, and I don't know who she did the interview with. I heard bits and pieces of the interview. I do know that with the interview, she was talking about the votes, and she credited Latina women mostly for their part in the election. And I was like, ooh. When I saw that clip, I'm like, they are about to eat you up on social media. And I went to her Twitter, and the comments, they were going in on her because she failed to mention that black women, which you guys, you ladies, black women are the MVPs. I have to give that to you. 100% got to give that to you ladies. That you guys, you ladies showed up and you showed out in this election. Hell, you showed up and showed out in the election with President Obama. Like, black women are the reason for, these elections. But when she said Latina women, I'm like, Eva, I like you. I really do. But you should have just sat down and you should have said, you should have thought about your answer before you gave it and said, we have got to give credit to Latina women, yes, but the big thank you has to go to the black women, because the black women, they rallied behind Biden. They got out there in them streets and they voted. Like, look at the sorority sisters that did. I mean, look at those. Did y'all see that photo of those? I don't know, and I don't know, the sororities like that. I think it was the AKAs. I know, which is Kamala. Isn't she an AKA, you guys? Correct me in the comment section if I'm wrong. Like, the black women rallied around them, so don't take all the credit. Yes, Latina women did help. I don't know about in Florida, but Latina women helped. But black women, you got to give them the roses. And this black man is giving you black women, my black queens. I got to say that, my queens. I got to salute y'all for what y'all did, because we managed to get who out of the White House. Thank God, thank God, thank God. But let's move on. Oh God, I hate this damn thing. All right, you guys, and then these next two stories that I'm gonna talk about are really sad stories. So on Sunday, I think it was Sunday. I was watching. Actually, I was sitting on my bed. I was watching. So on Sundays, I watch the Golden Girls on TV Land. That's what I do all day. I watch TV Land, and then I watch if a football game is on, I'll watch the football game. The funny thing is, I know football, but I'm not the biggest football fan. I'm more of a basketball fan. Basketball is my sport. I love basketball, but I will watch football from time to time. I'm probably about to upset some people, but I don't. I can't watch the Cowboys. I used to love the Cowboys as a kid. I used to be a huge Cowboys fan. But over the years, the Cowboys just let me down so much that I just like, you know what? Yeah, I can have them. I think everybody in my family, with the exception of one person, is a Cowboys fan. Like my whole entire family, Cowboys fans. I just keep my mouth closed when it comes to the Cowboys, keeping it real with you. But on Sunday, suffice it to say what I'm talking about. Sunday, we lost a TV legend, an icon, Alex Trebek, the host of Jeopardy. He passed away to his battle with pancreatic cancer at the age of 80 years old. My heart like really sunk when I saw that. I'm like, not Alex. I mean, we knew he was sick. I mean, the last time I saw Alex, he was on Good Morning America, and he was talking to T.J. Holmes. He looked really good, and he seemed like he was in great spirits. I know he was still filming Jeopardy. They said that the episodes will air up until Christmas Day. They haven't announced if they're going, what they plan to do with replacing Alex. I mean, Alex is irreplaceable. Like, I just think back to my mother. Like, she used to watch Jeopardy all the time. In my hometown, because in Dallas it comes on at a different time, but in my hometown in East Texas, it comes on our TV station at 11:30. So 11:30 every day, my mama was sitting there watching Jeopardy. And if I was at home, especially when I was in college, if I didn't have a class at 11:30, we would sit in the living room and we would just watch Jeopardy. And it's a memory. It's something that I'll never forget, sitting there watching Jeopardy with her. But yeah, man, rest in peace to the legend, the great Alex Trebek. So Alex, he leaves behind to mourn his memory his fans all over the world. He leaves his two children with his wife. I didn't even get her name. I think her name is Jean. And he also had another daughter with his previous wife. Now, she wasn't biologically his daughter, but he raised her as his daughter, which that's big in itself. My hats go out to any man that can take on that responsibility of, this child is not mine, but I love them, he or she nonetheless, and I am their father, his or her father. I love that about it. I mean, any man that can do that, I love it. And then another rest in peace. Now, this gentleman, I actually really didn't know him, but after hearing some of his music, I'm like, wow, really talented. There's a Dallas artist. I don't know if he was a rapper, because I saw videos of him singing, so I don't know if he sang and rap at the same time. But his name was Mo3. The brother could sing, like he could sing. He was shot and killed Wednesday, I believe, on one of our busy highways, I-35. Lord, if you from Dallas, if you live in Dallas, man, I try to avoid 35 like the plague. Anytime, if I go somewhere and my map tells me I gotta go 35, I dread it. I try to find other alternate routes. Actually, I mean, every highway here in Dallas sucks. 35, 75, President George Bush Tollway, what other? Sam Rayburn, 635. Oh God, that's the worst. 635, 45. Most of these have fives in them. 75, 45, 35, 635. Bush Tollway, Sam Rayburn Tollway, and DNT, which is where I live near. I live near DNT, but it's not that bad. Actually, there was a terrible accident yesterday on DNT, on the exit before I get to my apartment. A car had flipped over. I was just stunned because the car was just flipped over. Couldn't get past that. But I think everybody was okay because I saw them pull a young lady out the car. I hope everybody was okay in that one. But yeah, definitely a big rest in peace to, Alex and Mo3. So let's move on, you guys. All right, you guys, and then the next story that I want to talk about. Now, the next few stories might be small talk stories. Actually, they are. They'll be small talk. So the next story that I'm going to just talk about is Al Roker. So Al Roker, he revealed, I don't know if it was this week or if it was last week, but he revealed that he had prostate cancer, which, that is, prostate cancer. I'm gonna wish Al Roker the best. Prostate cancer, to my men, get checked out. Get checked out. Primarily my African American men, get checked out. The funny thing is, what was it? Because when I was working at my last job, the last job, Allstate, I went to our nurse practitioner because, I had to get my physical for my insurance. And, I was telling the lady, she was asking me about my medical history. And I was telling her what my medical history was. My medical history is, I'm clear. the only thing I have is asthma, which I think my asthma's starting to flare up because I do hear myself certain days. I'm wheezing. I do wheeze a little bit. But, I was telling her about my family's medical history, where my family has a lot of cancer in it. Like my grandfather, he had, well, actually, when they found the cancer, it had spread throughout his body. So I don't know where his cancer originated. My uncles, I know you guys heard me talk about one of my twin uncles, a few weeks ago in one of my videos. I forgot which one it was, but one of my twin uncles, he actually had prostate cancer. And he had it in 2008. I remember it like it was yesterday. He had prostate cancer. He was in a hospital. I was actually in class when my mom called me and told me he was in a hospital, and that my cousins from California were flying here to see him, and that she wanted me to go meet them because she was at work. So I was like, okay, where are they? So she told me where they were, and I went and met them, and we went to the hospital to see my uncle. And like I said, prostate cancer. Now, nobody told me. I didn't find out that he had prostate cancer until maybe a few months later. I knew it was cancer, but I didn't know which one it was. And they did the surgery. Now, I love my uncle to death. Love him to death. But my uncle, he didn't tell us everything. They did do the surgery. And to my knowledge, especially from what he was telling my family, he was letting us, he led us to believe that was it. But it actually really wasn't it. They did get the cancer in the prostate, but it was starting to spread throughout his body. And again, like I said, he didn't give us that much information. So then he still had to go to treatment. And like I said, I thought he was in remission. I thought he was in remission for sure. And then one day my mom said, my family calls me by my middle name, Jerome. She said, Jerome, your Uncle LT is not in any kind of remission. She said, that cancer is getting worse. I'm like, really? She's like, yeah, it's getting worse. She's like, it's spreading throughout his body. And she's like, he's just not telling us. But the good thing was that, whenever any family member would go to the hospital with him, the doctor would talk to them. Thank God for that. And I think the doctor figured it out that he wasn't telling us everything. So the doctors was, filling us in on what was going on with him. So, actually, I didn't realize it got so bad because there was one day that I went over to his house, to go to the store for him. And, me and him were walking to my car, and he just collapsed. He just collapsed in my arms. And I was like, and I was trying to get him up. I got him up and got him to a chair. And he kept saying to me, because he always called me babe. He said, I'm fine, babe. I'm like, Uncle LT, you not fine. I'm like, you didn't even make it down to one step before you fell into my arms. I'm like, you're not okay. And I called my mama. He told me, don't call your mama. I said, yes, I am calling my mama. Like, you just passed out in front of me. Like, yes, I'm calling her. I know you don't want me to call her because I know what you said. Because he said, you know how your mama is. I said, I do. But I'm not worried about how she is. I'm worried about you and the fact that you just fell in my arms. So we called the police. I called her, got the the ambulance, took him to the hospital, and lo and behold, it was the reason why he passed out is because it had spread to his brain at that point. Just to think about it, like that pain that I could see the pain in him, but God, just to think about it now. But yeah, Al Roker, he's had surgery. He's home recovering. So my thoughts, my prayers, and my well wishes are definitely going up to him right about now. And then, like I said, these stories that I'm talking about now are kind of small stories, so I'm not going to split them up at all. The next thing that we're going to talk about is Ticketmaster. So Ticketmaster, people are wanting to get back. I don't know why people are wanting to get back out when the cases of COVID keep going up. Like here in Texas, we just hit 1 million a few days ago, which is scary in itself. Really scary. But Ticketmaster, people want to go to concerts and things. They are saying now that when it comes down to it, they'll want you to be tested negative for COVID 24 to 72 hours prior to going to whatever concert you're going to go to. And when you do show up to the concert, they want to see your COVID results. Now, I'm a little leery about that one. And I'm going to tell you guys why I'm leery about that. Because, people can doctor results and make it look like they actually don't have COVID when they do. I would hope they would say, yes, you can come to the concert. And I know they're going to have to do social distancing. They'll have to do social distancing. And what else? Wear masks. It's going to be interesting. But let me know what you guys think about that. And then the last two things that I want to talk about is number one. Well, this one, I was going to save it for last, but let's go ahead and talk about it. How do you guys feel about The Weeknd being the Super Bowl halftime performer? I don't really care. I know I have a good friend. She loves The Weeknd. We actually went to the concert for The Weeknd in 2017, and he's an okay artist. He's not my favorite. Only good thing about the concert was I got a contact high. That was it. And then the last story that I want to talk about is Keke Palmer. So, she was on social media and she made she upset a lot of people about her comment about, with food stamps, EBT, whatever you guys call them. The fact that, you should be able to, it should be used only for healthy items. Now, I have a big problem with that. Like, number one, Keke, you're rich. So I'm not coming down on you or no shit like that, but you're rich. So you don't know the issues when it comes to food stamps. Number one, they penny pinch like a motherfucker. They penny pinch. They don't want, if they give people a lot of food stamps, it's far and few between. Most people, if they do get food stamps, they give them a low amount of food stamps. And I get what she's saying. You should be able to, I do get what she's saying. I understand what she's saying. But the thing is, when it comes to, food stamps, you do realize that the healthier foods are the more expensive foods in the grocery store. And the foods that are that are not good for us are the cost effective, the cheaper ones, the cheaper items, which is what people get to feed their families. Because if you spend all your money on the healthy items and you ain't got no meats, no nothing, what are you gonna do? Like, I got where she was coming from, but I just think there should be a workaround. I don't know what it could be. I don't know if they can, I don't know. Because like I said, the healthier items are the more expensive items in the grocery store. Like, hell, I was, because I was looking at it one day, I'm like, damn, why does this shit, if it's healthy for me, why does it cost a fucking arm and a leg for me to buy it? And I know the problem with most Americans is we're obese. I get it, but there's got to be some workaround. There's got to be some solution. There's got to be some middle ground. I don't know what the middle ground is, but someone will eventually figure it out. But you guys, that is all that I got to talk about with this week. Let me know what you guys think about all the topics that I discussed. Leave your comments in the comment section. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell notification button. I look like Donald Trump doing this. Well, nope. You know who? YSAP, FYSAP. I look like him doing that. But yeah, like the video, leave your comments, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification button so you guys are aware of when I drop anything else. Share this video, and until the next one, you guys, do me a solid. Stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves. Wash your hands, wear your mask, and socially distance. And as always, we do this at the same time, same place, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.